SQL Database. Learn how to create database, modify database, backup database, delete database, restore database, and everything in easy language. Hi, this is Samir sir, solution architect and IT solution provider since last 37 years. Let's learn how to create database. Most people assume that database can store only table. So my question is, what objects are saved in SQL database? Answer is, most people think that in database we can store only table, while it can store many objects like tables, indexes, which stores the data into ascending and descending orders. Store procedure, these are programmatical part for storing data. Functions, certain functions like math function for calculations for minimum, maximums, and certain user defined functions. Triggers. Triggers are something like when you save data in one table, you want to update certain another table, so you want to delete something like that. So that part can be done with the triggers. Constraint. There are many constraints. Views, database diagram, partition schema, user details, user role, security policy, and so on and so forth. So though many people think that database can store only table, as I have explained in earlier slides, database can store many more things, not only table, it can store more than 11 to 12 objects, and there are still more. Okay, so let's begin with the 150 plus SQL query. Once you start Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, short abbreviation is MSSM, which stands for Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. It gives you a screen something like this. It tells you which SQL server you would like to connect. You can click here, and if you got multiple SQL server, you can click on it. Then you can specify whether you want to go and log in with the Windows authentications, or you want SQL Server or Azure, another thing. As this is installed on Windows authentication, we'll start with this and we'll click on connect. Once it gets connected with the SQL Server, on the left side, it shows you Object Explorer panels, where it shows you security, database, server object, replications, and certain fields like this. Database. So this is our first query. So what we'll do, we want to create a database. So we'll type SQL command, create. What do you want to create? We want to create database. So what's the name of the database? So this is the name of the database. I'm writing command like test new. Now, there are two files which you have to specify. First will be data file, where you want to save the data file. So I'm opening round bracket. The name of the data file is a testdb underscore data. You can give any name, but it should be a logical. Now this is a name with which SQL will remember it. Now second parameter is file name. File name will be, that is where in hard drive you want to save it. So let's say you want to save it into C:test folder. Remember that before you give this command, this folder must be there. So this is the testdb underscore data and MDF. This will be the actual name of the file. Now, third parameter will be size. So what will be the initial size? So let's say I'm saying I want to start, initial size will be 100 MB. Fine. Now, I have to specify to SQL that this file will grow up to what size. So I'll say max size. Max size, I want it to grow up to 1 GB. After every parameter, I'm giving comma. And now, file growth. This is another parameter which specify that once it grows 100 MB, it should grow by, let's say I want to grow by 10 MB. Then it will grow by 120. Then it will grow by 130, 140, likewise. Maximum it will grow up to 1 GB. This is the parameter for data file. Also, there is another parameter which you have to specify, that is a log file. Log file will be on, again I'm opening round bracket. Name of the log file will be testdb underscore log. This is a logical name with which SQL will remember it. Physical file name will be this, will be where you want to save it. Save both the files in same folder. You can save it in different folders or different hard disks also. That's not an issue. But as of now, we are keeping it into one single folder. Testdb underscore log, and the file extension for log will be LDF. Initial file size will be, let's say I want to keep it to 20 MB. Maximum the file size will grow up to, let's say 1 GB. And last parameter will be file growth, will be 10 MB. So I hope once you write this command, select this command and press function key F5, click on this execute button. So it said command completed successfully. Now let's see whether this file has been created or no. So what you do, open in the left panel database. But if, as you can see, the name of the test data, the database which we have created, a test new, the name has not appeared. So right click on database and click on refresh button. Now, once you have clicked on refresh button, it shows you the name of the new database, that is a test new name, has appeared over here. So if you select this test new database and right click on it and go to properties, it can show you certain internal details like the name of this file is test new. Now if you go to files, file is divided into these two logical name. This is used by SQL server, testdb underscore data. It is used to show rows and columns. Initial file size, as you have said, it's 100 MB. File will auto grow by 10 MB each time, and these 10 MB will grow maximum up to 1 GB, that is 1024 MB. Where this file will be saved? This file will be saved in C:test folder, and this is the actual file name, testdb underscore data.mdf. This is the name of the actual physical file. So the first is a data file, testdb data is a data file, and second is a log file, testdb log file. It's a log file. Initial file size is 20 MB. It will auto grow by 10 MB and file will grow maximum to 1 GB, that is 1024 megabyte. It is also saved in C:test drive, and this is the name of the log file. Click OK. Okay, so now you have created the data file. Now if you want, you can close this query, you can save it, whatever you do. You don't want to save this query. The results of the query has been executed. So test database is created. Now we want to start with the learning new query. So I'm clicking on new query button. And now we want to modify some parameters in that. So what we'll do, now query number 2 will be, we want to modify some parameters. Now our data file had a initial size of 100 MB and maximum size of 1 GB. We want to reduce it, and file growth, it is growing by 10 MB. So we want to reduce the maximum size of the file. It can go up to 500 MB, and file growth, it should go by 5 MB. So now our second command will be alter database. With database I want to modify. So set test new. Now what property I need to modify? I'll say file. Now name is, now this is a logical name. What was the logical name? testdb underscore data. This is a logical name with which SQL will remember and recall the files. Now I want max size. Instead of 1 GB, I want max size to be reduced to 500 MB. And similarly, file growth. Okay, so let's select this query and we'll execute it. So it's a command successfully executed. Let's see whether it has made the necessary correction or no. We'll go into the left panel, test new database. We'll select property. So earlier it was 1 GB and file growth was 10 MB. Let's see. So this is the name of logical file name, testdb.data. Now file initial size is 100 MB, but now we have changed two parameters. Instead of 10 MB per file growth, it has reduced to 5 MB, and file size has been reduced to 500 MB. So this is what we have done it for testdb.data, data files. Let's say similar way, if I want to modify log file. So I will copy this query, Control C, I'll paste it in downstream. And now I want, instead of testdb.data, I want to modify testdb.log file. This I don't want up to 500 MB. This I want to reduce up to, let's say, 200 MB. And file growth I want to change it up to 2 MB. Let's select this query also. And I'm pressing execute button or press function key F5. It's a command successfully completed. Again, we'll go to file, select properties, select file parameter over here. And now I'm taking it bit down. So let's see. Now this is a log file, second file. It will grow by 2 MB. That's what we have said. And maximum file size, it is reduced from 1 GB to 200 MB. So this is the way how you can modify database. So this is the second query. Now let's suppose we want to modify the database name. Instead of test new, I want it something different. So our next third query will be, I want to modify the database name. So the command will be alter database. What file name I want to, what database name I want to change? Test new. This is the name of the database. I want to modify with the name. This is equal to, let's say I want to call it as a test data. So this test new will be now recalled as a test data. I'm selecting this query and I'm clicking on function key F5 or execute button. It's a database name test data has been set up, but still it is showing me the old file name. Don't worry, select database and right click and click refresh. Now the test new database name has been modified to test data. So I hope you understood how to modify the database name also. Let's assume that we want to take the backup. When you do data additions, modification, deletions with multiple hundred and thousands of tables, and each table may have millions of rows, you want to take a backup. So now our next query will be, I want to backup this database. So I'll give you the command. Now our fourth query will be backup. What I want to backup? I want to say backup database. Database. What database I want to modify? Backup test data. Okay. Where you want to take the backup? To disk. Okay. Is equal to, now I have to specify the folder location where you want to take the backup. So let's say I am saying C:\test folder. Before you give the folder name, just see that and verify whether this folder is existing or not. So let's say I am writing SQL test data.pak. This is the file name which I am writing. So I am selecting this query and I am clicking function key F5. I can click this execute button. Okay. Instead of double quotes, I have to use a single quotes. Okay, fine. I'm selecting the query and I'm clicking on function key F5 execute button. So it says that 330 page for this test data and database successfully processed, backup is done. So with this command, one single command, you can backup the database, which may include hundreds and thousands of tables, index, store procedure, trigger, view, and so on and so forth. In each table may have millions of records. You should have enough disk space to store that backup. That is one other part that you have to look after it. But using this command, you can backup database. So we have learned how to create database. We have learned how to modify database parameters. We have learned how to modify database name. Now we have learned also to backup the database. Now the next part will be a bit dangerous. Why I'm saying it's been dangerous? Because the next part which I'm going to teach you is to delete the database. Use this command extremely carefully because this is very dangerous command. Within one command, you will delete the one database. That one database may have hundreds and millions of records. It may have many more things. So use this command carefully. Okay. Now, for your knowledge, before you give this command, we have taken the backup for our testing. You have to write one command which is called as a use master. Okay. Why use master? Use master is a one system database. If you expand system database parameter, it gives the name of 4 database names: master, model, MSDB, and TempDB. Master table keeps a track of all the properties and database and other entity and objects which are there in SQL database. So we have to give command use master. Now, single command, drop. What do you want to drop? You want to drop database. Which database I want to drop? Test data. Please use this command carefully. I am giving this warning for third time. Okay, select these two commands and click execute. It's a command completed successfully. But as you can still see, still these two database names are there. You have to right click database and click on refresh. Now as you can see, by giving this one single command, you have deleted full database. Now the sixth part for our sixth query will be to restore the database. We have created a database, we have renamed, more altered database, we have backed up database, we have deleted database. Now the next part will be to restore the database from earlier backup. We have done earlier backup using this query number 4. So using this query number 4, I am going to restore it. So I'll get restore database. What database I want to say? Test data. From where? From this is equal to, I'll copy this part. and I'm pasting it here. So just single command, restore database with database test data from where? From this, from these folder positions. Okay, function key F5 or execute button. It is taking just half a minute over here because as of now we don't have a database with the data tables and all the data. It's just a plain database, empty database. When you have got big database, it may take some time. Still the name has not appeared. No worry. Right click database and click on refresh button, and as you can see, the test data name has appeared. So what you have done up till now, we have worked with the 6 query. You have learned how to create database, modify database file properties, modify database name, backup database, delete database, and restore database. I hope this is okay with you.